When the Silent Watchers found Earth's last message, the void between stars held many secrets, but Admiral Kethera of the Zephyrian Empire had seen them all. At least, that's what she believed as her massive dreadnought. The Stellar Crown drifted through the outer rim sectors. Her four arms worked gracefully across the command console, her crystalline skin catching the blue light of the bridge displays. The Zephyrians had ruled this galaxy for 15,000 years, and in all that time, very little surprised them anymore. Admiral called her sensor officer, a younger Zephyrian with nervous energy crackling through his bioluminescent patches. We're detecting an anomaly in Sector 7 Alpha. Unknown object, very old signature. Kethera's large, multifaceted eyes shifted toward the main screen. Space debris was common in these forgotten regions, especially remnants from the old wars that had cleared the galaxy of its more troublesome species. The humans, for instance, had vanished over 20,000 years ago. Good riddance, she thought. From what the historical records showed, they had been a chaotic, unpredictable race that would have only caused problems for proper galactic order. Size and composition, she asked, her voice carrying the natural authority of someone born to command. Approximately 50 meters in length, metallic composition unknown. Admiral, it appears to be some kind of probe or messenger vessel. The design is primitive. Kethera allowed herself a small smile. Primitive technology often held archaeological value, and the Empire always rewarded officers who brought back interesting specimens. Tractor beam. Bring it aboard for examination. The process took nearly an hour. The object was indeed ancient, its hull scarred by countless impacts from cosmic debris and radiation. When it finally rested in the Stellar Crown's cargo bay, Kethera herself descended to examine it personally. She was accompanied by her science team, led by Chief Researcher Vexen, whose expertise in synorchaeology was renowned throughout the Empire. The probe was unlike anything in their databases. Its design spoke of a civilization that had put function over form, every surface covered with sensors, communication arrays, and what appeared to be recording devices. Most intriguingly, it bore symbols and markings that seemed almost familiar, though Kethera couldn't place why. The construction is remarkably durable, Vexen noted, running his scanners over the hull. This vessel has been traveling through space for tens of thousands of years, yet its internal systems appear largely intact. Any indication of origin? Kethera asked. Based on the trajectory calculations and stellar positioning data I'm detecting, this probe originated from the Sol system, the third planet, specifically. Kethera's expression darkened. Earth, a human artifact. Indeed, Admiral. According to our records, this would make it one of the oldest surviving examples of human technology in existence. Despite her distaste for humanity's memory, Kethera found herself curious. The humans had been remarkable in their rapid technological advancement before their disappearance. Some scholars even theorized they might have achieved faster than light travel before whatever catastrophe claimed them. This probe could provide valuable insights into their final days. Can we access its data banks? She asked. Vexen hesitated. The technology is foreign, but our universal interface systems should be able to establish a connection. However, I recommend extreme caution. We don't know what security measures this device might contain. Proceed. If humans built it, how dangerous could it be? That decision would haunt Kethera for the rest of her life. As soon as Vexen's team connected their systems to the probe, everything changed. The ancient vessel, which had appeared completely dormant, suddenly came alive with a brilliant golden light. Its surface panels slid open to reveal crystalline arrays that pulsed with energy patterns unknown to Zephyrian science. "Sir, it's broadcasting something," the communications officer called out, his voice tight with alarm. "The signal is incredibly powerful, broadcasting on frequencies we've never seen before." But that wasn't the most disturbing development. The probe had somehow interfaced with the Stellar Crown's own systems, downloading their databases at impossible speeds while simultaneously uploading something in return. Every screen on the ship began displaying the same image, a blue and green world, beautiful and vibrant, with great cities and sprawling civilizations. Earth, as it had been in humanity's prime. Then came the voice. It spoke in the old human language, English, but the ship's translation systems immediately converted it to Zephyrian. The voice was calm, dignified, and carried with it a weight that sent chills down Kethera's spine. To whoever discovers this message, know that humanity has not forgotten. We have not forgiven. We have not given up. The golden light from the probe intensified, and suddenly the cargo bay was filled with holographic projections. They showed Earth's final days, but not the primitive civilization the Zephyrians had always imagined. Instead, they saw a world of incredible technological achievement, with cities that floated in the clouds and ships that could fold space itself. We knew they would come, the voice continued. The dominators, the enslavers, those who would claim the galaxy as their own and silence every voice that sang of freedom. We saw what they did to the Centaurians, to the Rigel colonies, to 100 other worlds that dared to exist independently. Kethera's breath caught. The Centaurians and Rigel colonies had been among the first conquests of the early Zephyrian Empire, over 18,000 years ago. How could the humans have known? So we chose to disappear. Not in defeat, but in patience. We scattered to the winds, carrying with us the seeds of return. And we left behind these messengers, waiting for the day when they would be found. The probe's broadcast suddenly expanded beyond the ship's hull. Across the sector, ancient monitoring stations that had been dark for millennia began to flicker to life. On distant worlds, buried deep beneath rock and ice, other human artifacts responded to the call. Every probe carries the same message, the same purpose: to announce that humanity's exile is ending, to declare that the time of silence is over. Vexen was frantically working at his console, trying to sever the connection, but the probe had somehow locked onto their systems with an unbreakable grip. Admiral, it's accessing our navigation databases. It's learning the locations of every Zephyrian world, every fleet position, every. To the rulers of this galaxy, know this, the voice said, now carrying an edge of steel that made even Kethera's warrior heart skip a beat. Humanity is coming home. We have learned patience in our exile. We have learned cunning. We have learned to plan not in years or decades, but in millennia. And we have learned that freedom is not a gift to be granted by masters, but a right to be claimed by the brave. The holographic display shifted, showing star maps that outlined hidden routes through the galaxy, secret passages that no Zephyrian explorer had ever discovered. Then it showed ships, sleek and powerful, emerging from hiding places in asteroid fields, in the hearts of nebulae, in the spaces between dimensions. We are not the humans you remember. We are not the humans you dismissed. We are what you made us become through your conquest and your silence. We are patient. We are ready. And we are everywhere. The probe's light reached a crescendo, and then everything went dark. The ancient device had shut down completely, leaving behind only the lingering scent of ozone and the terrible certainty that everything had changed. Kethera stood in the darkened cargo bay, her mind reeling. Around her, her crew worked frantically to restore systems and assess the damage, but she barely heard them. All she could think about was the look in that holographic human's eyes, the absolute conviction in that ancient voice. Admiral, Vexen approached her cautiously. The probe appears to have completely burned out its systems delivering that message. But Admiral, our long-range sensors are detecting anomalous readings from 17 different sectors. Ancient signals, all broadcasting on the same frequency as this probe. 17, she whispered. So far, the number keeps growing. As if summoned by her words, her communications officer called out from across the bay. Admiral, we're receiving priority transmissions from Fleet Command. Similar probes have been discovered across the Empire. All of them activated simultaneously. All of them delivered the same message. Kethera closed her eyes, feeling the weight of history shifting around her. For 15,000 years, the Zephyrian Empire had ruled without serious challenge. They had believed themselves the inheritors of the galaxy, the rightful masters of all they surveyed. But now, in the span of a single day, they had learned a terrible truth. Humanity had never died. They had simply been waiting, planning, preparing for this moment. And now, after 20,000 years of silence, they were ready to remind the galaxy that they had never truly been gone. The age of Zephyrian dominance was about to face its greatest test, and somewhere in the void between stars, ancient human ships were stirring from their long sleep, ready to reclaim what had once been theirs. The war for the galaxy was about to begin. The day humanity's true plan revealed itself. Captain Sarah Chen had been dreaming of Earth's blue skies when the awakening protocols triggered. The transition from cryogenic sleep to consciousness was never pleasant, but after 20,000 years, it felt like being reborn into an alien universe. Her body ached as the revival systems pumped warmth back into her limbs, and her first breath of recycled air tasted like metal and hope. "Status report," she croaked, her voice barely a whisper after millennia of silence. The bridge of the New Horizon gradually came alive around her as her crew emerged from their own sleep chambers. They were the last remnant of Earth's third colonial fleet, hidden in the Sagittarius arm of the galaxy, while the rest of humanity had scattered to the winds. Sarah had been 28 when they entered cryosleep. Now, technically, she was over 20,000 years old, though her body remained unchanged. "All systems nominal, Captain," replied Lieutenant Commander James Park, her first officer, as he struggled to his feet. "The awakening signal has been confirmed. Voyager Prime has made contact." Sarah felt a surge of emotion that surprised her with its intensity. They had waited so long for this moment, planned for it, dreamed of it through centuries of artificial sleep. The probe had done its job. Somewhere in the galaxy, their ancient message had been received. And now it was time for humanity to reclaim its birthright. "How many ships have responded?" she asked, moving carefully to her command chair. Her legs felt like water, but her mind was sharp. The cryogenic process had preserved not just their bodies, but their memories, their training, their burning desire for justice. 47 ships confirmed awakened so far, Captain. More are coming online every hour. The network is functioning exactly as planned. Sarah nodded, allowing herself a moment of pride. The Exodus Protocol had been humanity's greatest achievement, a plan so audacious that even their own people had called it impossible. When the Zephyrian Empire had begun its systematic conquest of the galaxy, humanity had faced a choice: submit to slavery or fight a war they couldn't possibly win. Instead, they had chosen a third option. They had chosen to disappear. Communications, open a channel to all awakened vessels. Let's remind ourselves who we are. The main screen flickered to life, showing the faces of dozens of human commanders from across the hidden fleet. Sarah recognized some of them from the old days, friends and colleagues who had shared her faith in this desperate gamble. Others were strangers, commanders of ships she had never seen, but their eyes held the same fire that burned in her own heart. "Fellow humans," she began, her voice growing stronger with each word. "Today we wake to a galaxy that has forgotten us. For 20,000 years, the Zephyrians have ruled as though we never existed. They have enslaved worlds, silenced voices, and built their empire on the bones of free civilizations. But they made one critical mistake." She paused, looking at each face on the screen, seeing her own determination reflected back at her. "They left us alive." A cheer went up from the assembled captains, a sound that had not been heard in this galaxy for 20 millennia. Sarah felt tears on her cheeks and didn't bother to wipe them away. "The probes have done their work. The Zephyrians now know we exist, but they don't yet understand what that means. They think we're the same primitive humans they remember from the old records. They're about to learn how wrong they are." The screen shifted to show a tactical display of the galaxy. Red markers indicated Zephyrian strongholds, while blue dots showed the locations of awakened human ships. Sarah was pleased to see that the blue dots were appearing in all the right places, exactly where the planners had predicted they would be needed. Operations, what's our strategic status? Commander Elena Vasquez, her tactical officer, had aged gracefully into her role as the fleet's strategic coordinator. Captain, our positioning is optimal. We have ships emerging near every major Zephyrian fleet base, trade route, and communication hub. The sleeper colonies have also been activated. We're looking at approximately 2 million humans coming out of cryosleep across 300 systems. 2 million. Sarah marveled at the number. When they had entered cryosleep, the human population had been reduced to less than 50 million souls scattered across their few remaining colonies. But those 50 million had included some of the greatest minds humanity had ever produced, and they had spent their final years before the Great Sleep working on a plan that would span millennia. And our technological advantage? Significant, Captain. 20,000 years of automated research and development have paid off. Our ships are several generations ahead of anything in the current galactic database. Quantum drives, neural interface systems, adaptive armor plating, and weapons that can rewrite matter at the molecular level. Sarah smiled grimly. The Zephyrians had spent 20,000 years growing comfortable with their dominance, their technology advancing at the steady, predictable pace of a civilization that faced no real challenges. Humans, meanwhile, had programmed their automated systems to continue evolving, improving, innovating throughout their long sleep. It was the difference between a sleeping giant and a stagnant empire. Captain, her communications officer called out urgently. We're receiving a transmission from a Zephyrian vessel. They're demanding we identify ourselves and prepare to be boarded. Are they now? Sarah's smile turned predatory. Put them on screen. The face that appeared was distinctly alien but recognizable from the historical records. A Zephyrian admiral, her crystalline skin reflecting the light of her ship's bridge, her forearms gesturing with the casual arrogance of someone accustomed to being obeyed without question. Unknown vessel, you are in violation of Imperial space. Identify yourself immediately and prepare to be boarded for inspection. Sarah stood up, straightening her uniform with deliberate care. When she spoke, her voice carried 20,000 years of suppressed anger. I am Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth Colonial Fleet, commanding the starship New Horizon. And you, Admiral, are trespassing in human space. The Zephyrian's expression shifted from arrogance to confusion to something approaching alarm. Impossible. Humans are extinct. Your species died out millennia ago. Reports of our death have been greatly exaggerated, Sarah replied. Would you like a demonstration of just how alive we are? Before the Admiral could respond, Sarah nodded to her tactical officer. The New Horizons weapon systems, dormant for 20,000 years, came online with devastating efficiency. A single pulse of directed energy struck the Zephyrian vessel's shields, and they collapsed instantly. A second pulse disabled their engines. A third left their weapon systems completely inert. The alien admiral stared at her screens in shock. That's impossible. Our shields should have held against anything short of a battleship's main guns. Your shields were designed to stop 20,000-year-old weapons technology, Sarah said calmly. You've been fighting the same enemies for so long, you forgot how to adapt to new ones. Across the galaxy, similar scenes were playing out as human ships revealed themselves to a shocked Zephyrian empire. The carefully orchestrated awakening was proceeding exactly as planned, with human vessels emerging from hiding to demonstrate their overwhelming technological superiority. But Sarah knew that the real war hadn't even begun yet. The Zephyrians were powerful, numerous, and they wouldn't go down without a fight. What humanity had on their side was something more valuable than superior weapons or better technology. They had patience, they had planning, and they had 20,000 years of anger to fuel their determination. Admiral, Sarah continued, addressing the stunned Zephyrian, I want you to send a message to your empire. Tell them that humanity is no longer hiding. Tell them that we remember every world they conquered, every voice they silenced, every dream they crushed. Tell them that we spent 20,000 years preparing for this day. The alien's voice was barely a whisper. "What do you want?" "What we've always wanted," Sarah replied. "Freedom, justice, and the right to exist without asking permission from self-appointed masters." She gestured to her communications officer, who opened a channel to the entire human fleet. "All ships, this is Captain Chen. Execute Protocol 7. Let's show the galaxy what humanity looks like when we stop hiding." Across the void, human ships began to move, not chaotically or aggressively, but with the precision of a plan that had been refined over centuries. They didn't attack randomly or destroy indiscriminately. Instead, they moved to secure key strategic positions, disable critical infrastructure, and demonstrate their overwhelming technological advantage without unnecessary bloodshed. The message was clear. Humanity was back, stronger than ever, and this time they weren't going to be pushed aside. Sarah turned back to the Zephyrian admiral, whose ship hung powerless in space. "You have a choice, Admiral. You can fight us and lose everything, or you can help us build something better. A galaxy where all species can thrive, where strength doesn't automatically mean dominance, where freedom isn't a privilege granted by the powerful." The alien was silent for a long moment, her multifaceted eyes reflecting something that might have been respect. "And if we refuse?" Sarah's expression hardened. "Then you'll discover what 20,000 years of human ingenuity can accomplish when we're truly motivated. We didn't come back to rule, Admiral. We came back to liberate. The choice of whether that liberation includes you is entirely yours." As the transmission ended, Sarah looked out at the stars that had once witnessed humanity's greatest defeat. Now they would witness humanity's greatest victory, not through conquest or domination, but through the simple act of refusing to stay silent any longer. The age of hiding was over. The age of return had begun. And across the galaxy, the song of human freedom was starting to rise once again.